Algeria has been privileged to enjoy with each and every ASEAN member state. By joining the TAC today, we seek to add a new dimension to these bilateral relations, a dimension that includes ASEAN as a genuine united bloc whose collective voice and positive influence continue to grow on the global stage. In this spirit, we also aspire to deepen our engagement with ASEAN by becoming a sectoral dialogue partner, and we kindly seek your inviolable support to that effect. Thirdly and lastly, we take special pride in sharing with all ASEAN member states a steadfast commitment to the principles of the Treaty of Amity and Cooperation, principles that are equally enshrined in the Charter of the United Nations. These principles that are deeply rooted in the respect for international law, from the very foundation of Algerian foreign policy, they have shaped my country's external identity, and they continue to guide its actions and positions at the international level. I'm sure we can all agree that our world is in urgent need for a renewed commitment to these principles, especially in light of the deeply troubling patterns that are unfolding before us. Of great concern among these developments is the growing tendency to openly resort to the use of force in defiance of all established norms, principles, and rules. Of even greater concern is the increasing inclination to deliberately violate international law, including the core principles of the UN Charter. And of gravest concern is the progressive marginalization of the United Nations, the weakening of the whole UN system, and the near paralysis of the Security Council itself. In the face of these developments that are reshaping the global landscape, Algeria is committed to working alongside ASEAN in advocating for the values of peace, mutual respect, and genuine cooperation. Algeria is also committed to joining hands with ASEAN in promoting respect for international law, including the principles of the Treaty of Amity and Cooperation. And Algeria is finally committed to closely coordinating with ASEAN toward ensuring that diplomacy takes precedence over confrontation, that law triumphs over force, and that multilateralism prevails over unilateralism. This is the only way forward to achieve a peaceful and prosperous future for all mankind. I thank you all.
Thank you very much, Excellency, for the speech. May I invite Your Excellency to return to your seat. Thank you, Excellency. Next, may I invite His Excellency Mario Lubekin, Minister of Foreign Affairs of Uruguay, to deliver his remarks.
Good afternoon. Buenas tardes, what we say in Spanish. Minister of Foreign Affairs of Malaysia, Secretary General of ASEAN, my friend, Minister of Affairs of Algeria, that I think that both signatures at the same time show something new and a new trend in which we can say only thanks to our friend of ASEAN to understand the trend and ask us to be part of this new scenario in which, like my friend from Algeria said, we want to play, we need to play together more than before. Ministers, distinguished representatives of state parties, ladies and gentlemen, friends. For us, it's a great honor, and for me especially, that just came from the BRICS meeting without sleep, but I wanted to be here now to share with you this very important historical moment for my country. That I can be on behalf of the government of Uruguay to express our satisfaction and being received of this ASEAN summit to express Uruguay's accession to the Treaty of Amity and Cooperation in Southeast Asia, COLETAC, that's joining a long list of extra-regional countries that have done the same before. We are grateful for the approval by the ASEAN Foreign Minister meeting held last January for our application to accede to the TAC, which has been submitted in July 2024 by the previous government. This symbolizes Uruguay's state-level commitment to deepen its relation with ASEAN member states. In particular, I would like to express our appreciation to the Malaysia presidency for the cooperation in making this important act possible, and likewise to the ASEAN Secretariat. This accession is based on our deep conviction in the principles that inspire the treaty, such as mutual respect for sovereignty, territorial integrity, and the national identity for all nations, non-intervention in internal affairs, peaceful resolution of dispute, renunciation of the threat or use of force, and effective cooperation among all of the countries. And if this issue was important before, now is more and more important, like we talked before. The world today faces complex and multifaceted challenges that require more than ever a renewed commitment by the international community to dialogue, mutual understanding, peaceful coexisting, and cooperation among nations. In this regard, the TAC indirectly constitutes a platform to achieve these goals not only in Southern Asia, but also for only of our region, and logically for Latin America, and all over the world. Uruguay, a country firmly committed to multilateralism, peace, and the promotion of human rights, sees this accession as a valuable opportunity to deepen ties with ASEAN and each of its member states. Furthermore, we understand that as a pivotal step to broaden and diversity our political, economic, and cultural ties toward a future of cooperation and shared perspective with a dynamic, vibrant region undergoing constant growth and transformation. With this accession, Uruguay joins other Latin American countries, and we trust that this closer relationship will significantly contribute to building bridge between the two regions. Through joint effort, we can move toward a future market by greater integration and raising intercultural dialogue and sharing sustainable development effort. We hope deepen next year when Uruguay will assume the presidency of the Community of the Latin American and the Caribbean States, called CELAC, in which we have together 33 countries from Latin America and from the Caribbean. Not strong like ASEAN, but we take this type of model to try to understand how Latin America and the Caribbean need to work better and to play better in the world, especially with our partners from Asia and from Africa. And at the same time, we will share the presidency of Mercosur. So the South countries, Brazil, Argentina, Paraguay, and Uruguay. And I think that in that side, we can develop our trade capacity together to create incredible communities of population in an integration process in which we are convinced that this is the way in which we need to go. I want to reiterate Uruguay's gratitude to the ASEAN state parties for their valuable support of our objective to accede to this treaty, and once again highlight our country firms' commitment to the principles and objectives enshrined in the instrument to bring peace and development to our societies and the world. This is our responsibility. We can do. We are sure that we can do. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Excellency, for the remarks. May I kindly invite Your Excellency to return to your seat. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the signing ceremony for the instrument of accession to the Treaty of Amity and Cooperation in Southeast Asia by the People's Democratic Republic of Algeria and the Oriental Republic of Uruguay. We thank Your Excellencies for your presence and commitment to strengthening cooperation with ASEAN. And with that, thank you and have a pleasant evening ahead. The ceremony is now adjourned.
Salam Malaysia Madani, this is Biz ASEAN and I'm your host, Daryl Baptist. Every Thursday we bring you Biz ASEAN, a program where we unpack the key issues shaping our regional economy in conjunction with Malaysia's ASEAN chairmanship this year. ASEAN has always been driven by people, trade and commerce, but today it's intelligence, artificial intelligence, that's becoming the new engine of growth, from the way we work to the way we learn, travel and even make decisions. AI is no longer a concept of tomorrow, it now shapes the everyday lives of Malaysians and our fellow ASEAN neighbours alike. Across governments, businesses and homes, it's opening up opportunities, speeding up solutions, and yes, raising some big questions too. What is ASEAN going to look like as we step into the AI-powered future? All this and more coming right up on Biz ASEAN. Our focus today is one that everyone's talking about, AI and the ASEAN future. Now, we will be speaking with a special guest to further explore this topic, but first, let's begin with some of the latest news updates. Now, we have a story by CIMB Group Holdings Berhad, who has become the first bank in the country to positive step towards strengthening long-term investment resilience.
Glosari ASEAN.
Welcome back to Biz ASEAN. Our topic today is one that's shaping conversations across the region and around the world, AI and the ASEAN future. Joining me now is Professor David Asirvatham, a professor of practice in AI and technology at the Asia School of Business. Professor David, it's a pleasure to have you here on the show with us. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Now, let's start the interview with a simple question.
Ways, okay,
Yes.
or Google Map. Actually, at the back end, they use AI models to predict the best path for you. So they collect all the information from all your phones and they analyze using AI, and then it optimizes and produces the best path for you. So that's how Google Map works. Similarly, Waze and the Grab. How do you get the correct driver for you? Okay, the Grab driver. Again, AI is used to analyze those things and produce them. Right.
Gosh,
so you're already using it. Another good example is your watch.
The smartwatches.
The smartwatches.
Okay.
Right? It collects your heart rate. It collects your sleep patterns, the type of exercises you do, and so on. They're all analyzed, and it can give you insights about your health and well-being.
That's right.
And you can give from the feedback, you can try to improve yourself in terms of the health. Yeah.
You know, Professor, I've always known that, you know, I mean, like you said, I use Waze myself, but I never thought it implemented AI. I just thought it was just collecting data and it was just based on, well, data-driven decisions. But I guess nowadays, with the implementation of AI, or rather, you've used that data to implement AI or to make AI smarter. Amazing stuff. Now, in ASEAN, let's bring our focus back to ASEAN in general. Now, ASEAN is, of course, made up of different countries, some highly digital, while others are still sort of catching up, still developing, one would say. What unique opportunities and challenges do you see for ASEAN as a region when it comes to adopting AI?
I think for ASEAN, it's a great opportunity. I think it's an opportunity for us to leapfrog in this area. Because if you look at the US and Europe, they have a lot of legacy systems. But here we have not implemented some of these systems. So it's an opportunity for us to leapfrog and by using AI. And one of the things for ASEAN is that I think for ASEAN, we should develop a common framework, a governance framework for ASEAN. And we should share our knowledge or even to build a new AI model for ASEAN. Okay, just like you have OpenAI building ChatGPT,
right,
and Google building Gemini. Maybe for ASEAN countries can get the resources together and develop a model for ASEAN that will show that it will reflect our culture and our using our data. So it's more suitable for ASEAN.
I like that you brought that up because recently there's been lots of summits going on in our country due to being the chairman of ASEAN, and I did attend a few of them, and AI was a hot topic in a lot of them. My question to you is, governments across ASEAN have already started talking about AI strategies and policies, like you just mentioned. In your view, what role should governments play in making sure that AI benefits everyone?
Okay, to ensure that the AI benefits the rakyat, it's important to, number one, have to have a proper framework for the country. If you want to consider the whole of ASEAN, we can also have a common framework. That's number one. The second thing is that we need to start using AI in all areas, in healthcare, in education, transport. We have to start using AI. How can we use AI? Basically, first of all, we need to train, upskill some of these, the employees as well as the leaders. First, we have to start with the leaders. The leaders need to be trained in terms of the AI skills. They need to acquire AI skills, not to the extent of technical things, know enough so that you can manage. Then the next layer we have to train. And once they are trained, then we can also deploy AI solutions to this organization. And today AI is very advanced in medical, in the financial industry. There are a lot of people developing various types of AI solutions for these industries.
That's right. And since you mentioned industries, let's shift our focus a little bit to a bit more the micro side of things. We spoke about governments. What about small businesses in our region? How can they use AI to boost productivity and reach new heights?
Yeah, I think for SMEs, or small companies, in fact, it is even more important for them because for them they need to look at optimizing operation and be cost effective.
Right.
And to do that, today AI can help in many areas in their business. For example, all the administrative tasks where they can apply AI. As I mentioned, for example, you want to do data analytics. You don't have to hire a data scientist to do that. You can actually do it yourself using the Gen AI models. You put all your data in and you just give a prompt and it will analyze for you. So that's one example. For example, another area is HR. Today for scanning of CVs and shortlisting candidates, we use AI to scan hundreds of CVs. Then choose. For example, I've tested it. I put in about 20 CVs and gave the criteria. These are the criteria that I want. And I said I want 5 candidates to be shortlisted, and it gave me the 5 candidates shortlisted.
Now, Professor, that sounds brilliant, but my next question would be, I can already see how there can be some issues that can come from that. But before we get into that, let's take a quick break, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be right back after this break.
On the 22nd of November 2015, ASEAN took a major step forward, declaring itself an official community. This means closer collaboration across three main pillars: political security community, a rules-based, people-centered ASEAN promoting peace and stability, a resilient community ready to face both traditional and non-traditional security threats, ensuring ASEAN's centrality in regional and global mechanisms. Second, economic community, a competitive, trade-friendly economy that integrates seamlessly into global value chains. Benefits are equitably shared, focusing on SMEs, youth and women entrepreneurs, enhanced connectivity and infrastructure to drive productivity and integration. Lastly, socio-cultural community, an inclusive community with equitable access to opportunities and a high quality of life, promotes sustainability and environmental protection, a resilient and adaptable community embodying the values of ASEAN and a strong identity. This ASEAN 2025 initiative paves the way for peace, economic integration and social responsibility, ensuring a future-ready ASEAN for its people and the world.
Welcome back, folks. This is Biz ASEAN. Of course, you're here with me, Daryl Baptist, and our guest for this day is Professor David. We're here discussing the AI future of ASEAN. Now, earlier on, Professor David, you were telling us about how you were using AI to sift through CVs and resumes, and how it potentially a task that would normally take you hours was done in seconds. Now, my question to that would be, now, I'm quite familiar with this process that you've mentioned, but how do we know that AI is actually selecting the right candidates and not letting go of potential candidates that perhaps we didn't prompt it the right way, for example, and you then lose on valuable candidates?
I think the prompt is important. For example, if you want to scan CVs, you need to have a set of criteria, and you must have clear criteria of how you want to select the candidate. That's number one. The other things also are definitely the AI is a black box decision maker. This means that there's no transparency. You put in, you get the results. How it is done, it's a bit challenging. So that we say that it lacks transparency.
Right.
Although they are in the newer models, they are coming with reasoning models, which is able to provide the reasons or the steps that you take in order to make that particular decision. The other thing is also biasness of data. So, for example, if you take engineering field, there are more men employed in engineering compared to women. So if you do a scanning of CVs, the AI model will tend to favor men than women in engineering.
Right.
So that's the problem with biasness. This is because of lack of data in the training machine. Because when we train the AI model, we must provide sufficient data, and we must ensure that the data is balanced between male and female. So these kind of things need to be taken into account.
I see. Okay, now, that's a lot to take in. Now, with AI moving so fast, I mean, it is progressing rapidly every day. Are there concerns about risks, or like, well, you mentioned biasness and misinformation. When we're talking about governments or even ASEAN as a whole, when we prepare to adopt AI, how do we balance innovation with responsibility?
Okay, what is important in terms of the innovation, we need to continue to develop AI because AI is a tool that will help us in many, many different areas. Now, compared to all the previous technology like blockchain, cloud computing, and those things, they are not intelligent systems.
Right.
We need to program them. Whereas AI is an intelligent system. This is where it can also innovate. We can also innovate many new processes. For example, you have an organization, and I have tested this. I take the process and I put it into the AI and ask it to reinvent the process or re-engineer the process.
Right.
And it gave me a result.
And was it successful?
And it was a good and I think it's out of 8 out of 10 probably I would give. Right?
Wow.
So it put input all the new technologies that you should be using in the new process. So that's amazing, right? I mean, so these are things that we can innovate. Of course, there's some risk as we have to consider. One of the risks that we will have to look at is de-skilling of the younger generation. If the younger generation uses AI very often and they don't use their cognitive ability,
Where we become over-reliant.
Yeah, over-reliant on it, and they lose their cognitive ability in terms of creativity, thinking process, and all this. Just like when we use Waze, we actually stop recording, right?
This is very true.
Yeah.
You know, we tend to use Waze now for even the smallest things, going to the mama. You know, like we know the road, but we'll still turn it on for convenience sake. What are the risks besides becoming over-reliant?
Well, the other risk is basically to ensure that the models work fine. You must train with your own data set as well.
Right.
So in the Malaysian context, for example, if we use a data trained on different data set or from different countries, but we also must train we must upgrade or enhance the model by putting in our own data to ensure that it reflects, it reduces the biasness.
Okay. Now, Professor, there's so much more I want to ask you, but we're also running out of time. Before we leave you, though, finally for our viewers today, if you had to give our viewers one piece of advice about how they can prepare for an AI-driven future, what would it be?
I think it is simply just we keep on learning about AI. You need to upgrade your skills on AI, and that's the only advice that I can give, because this technology is changing very fast. Every 6 months, there's new things coming up. So you have to acquire AI skills constantly and continuously.
So acquire AI skills continuously. Yep. And we've got time for one more question. Looking ahead, I want to know from your opinion, say for the next 5 to 10 years down the road, how do you see AI shaping the future of the average Malaysian's life or the average ASEAN's life?
I think in the next 3 to 5 years, we will see a lot of AI agents coming in, and they will sort of automate a lot of the tasks that we are doing today. It's expected that 20 to 40% of the tasks that we do today will be automated over the next 3 to 5 years. This means that what is the impact on an individual? Things like, let's say in an office, you're doing certain things, that let's say a job has got a few tasks, 10 tasks, maybe 3 or 4 tasks will be taken by AI, and you only do the 6 remaining tasks. So slowly, it is going to take over all your tasks. So what humans we should be doing, we should go into more the high level of thinking, like creativity, innovation. So we need to create a more what we call a more higher level cognitive ability jobs. We should be doing that. So that's important, okay, for every individual. So we need to upskill ourselves, continue to use our cognitive ability to do higher level tasks.
Okay. And what would be the fastest way or easiest way for us to upskill in terms of learning about AI?
Yeah. Many people think that AI is something very difficult to learn. Yes, if you're developing model, if you're you're a scientist, yes, it's a complex model. But to use AI is very simple, right? And you can learn that in a few hours how to use AI.
2025 has been a year of turning points, a time of geopolitical shifts, economic realignment, and rapid technological change. Through it all, Malaysia has steered ASEAN with conviction and purpose. We have drawn the region closer and carried it forward. At this defining moment, ASEAN has stood firm, stronger as one. At the heart of Malaysia's chairmanship lies the theme inclusivity and sustainability. It is about forging a community where every voice soars and no one is left behind, where we secure the long-term well-being of our peoples. Together, we have built new partnerships, deepened those that endure, and kept ASEAN's centrality as our compass. We have sown the seeds of a lasting legacy with ASEAN 2045, our shared future, a strategic vision for future generations. This has been a year of significance, defined by progress and purpose. Through quiet resolve, we have bridged divides and fostered dialogue. We have reinforced ASEAN's place as the cornerstone of regional architecture. We opened a new chapter by admitting Timor-Leste as ASEAN's 11th member. This reaffirms our founding vision for a united, cohesive, and forward-looking Southeast Asia. We have advanced ASEAN's geo-economic agenda by reinforcing our single market and deepening ties with key partners, supercharging our path towards becoming the world's fourth largest economy by 2030. We continue to press ahead on vital fronts, building climate resilience, deepening our digital economy, and connecting the energy grid. Malaysia's chairmanship now culminates in ASEAN's largest and most high-profile gathering of leaders to date, an assembly of the world's principal centers of power and influence. This has been a year where ASEAN proved its resilience, a year when trust held, cooperation deepened, and our voice was heard with greater strength and clarity on the world stage. As our chairmanship draws to a close, Malaysia reflects with pride on the journey we have taken together.
Looking ahead, I have confidence that ASEAN can chart our future with foresight, with confidence and determination. I am confident that the aspirations of ASEAN, of peace, of justice, of prosperity shared by all will endure for generations to come.